What age range is Gen Z? Who are millennials? And in which group are Tom Holland and Zendaya? The newly engaged actors are millennials, but might have more fans who belong to Gen Z. Zendaya and Tom Holland have confirmed their engagement to the delight of fans, many of whom may be a younger generation to the actors. The stars met on the set of the Spider-Man films while playing the teenage characters back in 2017, but despite their youth and fanbase, they are not Gen Z. London-born Holland, 28, and Zendaya, also 28, from California, were born in 1996, meaning they are in the final year of the millennial generation. They may, however, find they are more aligned to the viewpoints of the next bracket down, which has led to a subcategory of Zillennials being coined. When we are born has huge implications on our lives as the societies in which we grow up differ vastly between age groups. Gen Z have recently been found to have developed a love of high-strength nicotine, a desire to protest in London for eco-causes, and are more likely to attend church than the generation above them, according to a recent study. The recent studies have shown a different light on the group that is sometimes cast as work-shy and entitled. Other generations also come with their stereotypes. This slacker generation, Generation X, has yet to produce a U.S. president, while baby boomers have been accused of wealth hoarding due to their widespread property ownership and relatively good pensions. Millennials, meanwhile, continue to battle perceptions of being wasteful and self-absorbed. Unbeknown to them, generations Alpha and Beta will inherit a deeply divided world. However, some members of the silent and even golden generations are still around, especially as populations and presidents live longer. Here's your guide to who's who. What defines Generation Beta? The arrival of Generation Beta marks the end of Generation Alpha, which includes those born between 2010 and 2024. Social researcher and futurist Mark McCrindle, who coined the term Generation Alpha, predicted that Generation Beta will comprise 16% of the global population by 2035. He also suggested that many will live to see the 22nd century. He explained that he chose Gen Alpha and Gen Beta to signify a shift to the Greek alphabet. This represents a generational change, particularly regarding technological advancements and the world this new generation will grow up in. Generation Beta will be the first to grow up in a world where artificial intelligence is fully embedded in daily life. They will also be raised by parents who have relied on technology as an integral part of their upbringing and parenting. However, they will also inherit significant societal challenges. With climate change, global population shifts, and rapid urbanization at the forefront, sustainability will not just be a preference, but an expectation, Mr. McCrindle said. This generation will be raised by millennial and older Gen Z parents, many of whom prioritize adaptability, equality, and eco-consciousness in their parenting. What is Gen Z? Gen Zers were born between 1997, when Tony Blair came to power in the UK, and 2012, when London hosted the Olympics. Many members of Gen Z are children of previous generations, such as baby boomers, born 1948 to 1964, or Generation X, born 1965 to 1980. Unlike previous generations, Gen Z has grown up in a world where the internet is ever-present. Often referred to as digital natives, they have never experienced life without widespread access to digital technology. At the same time, they are coming of age in an era where physical and mental health are more widely understood and openly discussed. Early studies suggest that Gen Z has lower rates of teen pregnancy and alcohol consumption compared with previous generations. They also tend to be better at delaying gratification and making more measured decisions than older cohorts. However, despite these positive trends, Gen Z faces significant economic challenges. They are less likely to be able to afford home ownership than their predecessors, and rising property prices and economic uncertainty have created barriers to financial independence. Additionally, constant exposure to digital technology has been linked to positive and negative outcomes. While they are highly connected and tech-savvy, some studies suggest that the pressure to maintain an online presence can contribute to mental health struggles, particularly anxiety and depression. What comes after Gen Z? Coined in 2008, Generation Alpha refers to children born from 2013 to 2024. The COVID-19 pandemic could have the most significant impact on this generation's development. Additionally, Gen Alpha may face the consequences of recent increases in screen time and obesity. What is a millennial? Millennials were born between 1981 and 1996, and their name reflects that many came of age around 2000. They are also known as Generation Y. This generation has witnessed significant shifts in social values, and many have suggested their lives have become easier than those of previous generations. However, many millennials feel that their financial opportunities and job prospects are less promising. Various reports suggest that millennials are worse off than their parents, an unprecedented trend in recent generational history. Younger millennials in the UK also remember being the first to pay £9,000 a year in university tuition fees when the Tory Lib Dem coalition raised the cost abruptly in 2012. While previous generations have often swung to the political right as they age, millennials seem to be breaking that stereotype, with many maintaining liberal views. Who are Zillennials? Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Harry Kane, Harry Styles, and Kylie Jenner all belong to a new subdemographic of those born in the mid to late 1990s. Sitting between millennials and Generation Z, this group, often called Zillennials, is said to embody the best or worst of both worlds. While not an officially recognized generation, the term has gained traction among those who feel they straddle the stereotypes of the two distinct cohorts. These individuals often identify with aspects of both generations, from millennials' nostalgia for the pre-internet era to Gen Z's comfort with technology and social activism. There is no universal agreement on the exact birth years that define Zillennials, but many consider it to span from around 1992 or 1993 to 1996. Speaking to CNN in 2023, Juliana Olarte, then 26, said, "My sister sees me as a young millennial, and millennials see me as Gen Z. When I first heard the term Zillennial in college, I was like, that's me." How old are members of Gen Z this year? In 2025, Gen Z people will be between 13 and 28 because they are defined as those born between 1997 and 2012. What are other generations' age ranges? Lost Generation, 1883 to 1900. Greatest Generation, 1901 to 1927. Silent Generation, 1928 to 1945. Baby Boomers, 1946 to 1964. Generation X, 1965 to 1980. Millennials, Generation Y, 1981 to 1996. Generation Z, 1997 to 2012. Generation Alpha, 2013 to 2024. Generation Beta, 2025 to present.